Hi Pisces, welcome to your monthly reading for February 2024. So as always, thank you very much to everyone who watches, likes, shares, comments on the videos and subscribes to the channel. If you want a personal reading, see the info in the description box. So these are the oracle decks I'll be using for today's reading. Yes, as you can see, Beautiful Creatures is actually a tarot deck, but I'm going to be using it as an oracle deck today. For me, it feels more like an oracle deck, to be honest. I have used it in tarot readings as tarot cards, but yeah, and it feels Aquarian. For me, there is something about it that feels like an Aquarius deck, but it's also, if you haven't already seen it and you're interested, I did a video on, well, it was for the full moon in Leo, but it also included astrology and tarot readings for all of the transits that have been happening with Pluto, Aquarius, etc. On the weekend that was the 20th and 21st of January. It's a pretty big deal. It's like leaving an old era behind. Pluto went into Aquarius after being in Capricorn for 15 years. So it is a big deal. It's literally going into a new era. So you might be interested in that because that tells you it's sort of it talks about the things that might be relevant for the next couple of decades as a collective and individually. But anyway, as I was saying, one thing with Aquarius, it can be known for innovation, Aquarius energy, and sort of using you could say it's like integrating the old and new, so using the old in a new way. So I guess with using this tarot deck as an oracle deck, it's using something in a new way, isn't it? But anyway, let's get on with your reading. The messages are for Pisces, Sun, Moon and Rising. We're going to start off with messages from the Beautiful Creatures deck and the Power of Surrender, first of all, and those will be your main theme. So I think there'll be like a little link or box or something. I've forgotten what you call them now. My mind is not working. It's Monday morning. You're my second reading, but there will be sort of a link if you are interested in watching the video that talks about the stuff that's gone on with Aquarius. If I can actually get the cards to shuffle. So what does Pisces, Sun, Moon or Rising need to know for February 2024? Right, you've got the King of Pentacles, loyalty. I am going to be reading these for the book. Obviously, I know what they mean, but I just wanted to get more in depth with it. And obviously, each tarot deck has its own, they give their own specific spin on things, don't they? And I am going to be taking these messages quite literally, I think. But yeah, King of Pentacles, loyalty. So we shall put you here. And let's look at the Power of Surrender. I don't know if there's something relevant about a Capricorn here, because as I was looking at the King of Pentacles, I was looking at the horns and thinking, why has it got horns when it's to do with Capricorn? It's actually Taurus, isn't it? Which I already know that, but for some reason, Capricorn, I mean, I know as an earth sign, Capricorn stands out, but that could be very relevant. I mean, I guess because Pluto left Capricorn and went into Aquarius on the 21st of Jan, that could be relevant to someone in terms of going into a new cycle. Also, what I talk about in the other video that I mentioned was that the Sun was conjunct Pluto in Capricorn as well, and that's a big deal. Again, I'm not going to go on about it here, but if you want to see anything about that, then the other video will be linked at the end of this one. But let's get your surrender, Power of Surrender card as well. Surrender to effortlessness. So it says, stop pushing so hard. The art of living means going with the flow instead of trying to force the river. I will be honest, there could be something about a relationship here, like a well, it could be any kind of relationship, but there could be something about a romantic relationship here. Do I say it yet? Or I may as well say it since it's there. About being careful in if there is something romantic going on with someone, or even if it's not romantic, where there's a need to prove someone's loyalty, or someone wants someone to prove their loyalty. I think what I'll say is be careful about forcing things, whether it's you forcing things or someone else forcing you to do things. Just be careful around trying to force loyalty. I know that's a really weird message, but that's what came in with that. So let's get your tarot cards out. I mean, you can't force loyalty either, can you really? So I think that's the gist of it, is that you can't force loyalty. It's either the person will act, someone will act with loyalty, or they won't. But you can't really fake it. Right, so let's get the tarot cards out for you, and then I'll read the message from the Beautiful Creatures deck. So main theme, focal point, that was really quick. We've got the World. Pisces energy specifically. I'm telling you, my brain is just not functioning properly this morning. It's that Monday feeling. I'm definitely one of these people that I'm not a fan of Monday mornings like a lot of people, but it is what it is. So Pisces specifically is the High Priestess and the Tower. God, you've got all major so far. Yeah, you've got major arcana so far. External or surrounding energies. You've got the Nine of Swords in reverse. Past energies. Ten of Pentacles. Current or present energies. You have the Knight of Pentacles, which you could consider that energy to be a loyal energy. And then you've got the Three of Swords, okay. I'm not going to lie, there's the possibility that somebody's loyalty was betrayed as well. Whether it is a road to do with a romantic relationship, friendship, family, that does come to mind here too. Let's see what the potential future energy is. We've got the Hermit and guidance. Justice, okay. Right, let's read that King of Pentacles card first of all. Might take me a while to find it because it's a good book, but they've done the court cards in a weird order, in a really weird order. So, right, so it says their specific take on this is, I have a word of advice for you. Be faithful, be a faithful person to yourself and others. And as it said, the key word is loyalty. A steady bull entity has planted both her hooves onto the ground, absorbing the earth's loyalties to all living things. She is true to her word. When someone needs a shoulder to cry on or a secret kept, she comes and gives faithfulness to them without expecting anything in return. When someone needs a lesson to remain loyal to others or to themselves, she becomes a teacher. Okay, so yeah, that thing about forced loyalty, that could be a thing here. Right. It says, the energy of the King of Pentacles is honest, sincere and comforting. This king is ruled by Venus, the planet of beauty and attraction, and is associated with Taurus, who embodies an archetype that is loyal. Taurus rules money and material possessions. The archetypes is, well, the information about the archetype is, the King of Pentacles denotes a person who is dependable and serves as a rock or a touchstone for someone in need. Asking them for a favor and receiving that favor will not be an issue. When you need someone to be your secret keeper, they are the perfect person to count on. When it comes to borrowing money or materials, they will give you a hand. On a negative side, they may be stubborn and allow pride to get in the way, making them egocentric. Once their stubborn side is set into motion, there is no way to dissuade them. When becoming egocentric in their point of view, you will be an irrelevant part in their life. That's harsh, isn't it? Right, and the situation, like for situations, with this card, it says the King of Pentacles represents a situation where you'll have to be dependable in order to have people's trust and respect. This will be very beneficial when you want to impress your boss or even co-workers. Being dependable will open many doors for you. On the negative side, avoid becoming stubborn. Pushing things and people aside will not lead to anything good. You will only be left with things undone. People will grow to dislike you and not be there for you when you need them the most. This may lead to becoming rigid with yourself and others. Right, okay, well, let's get into the clarifiers and see what's happening here. So let's look at the world first of all as like a main theme to begin with. I mean, one thing I can say is that for some of you, it may be that you are now going into a new cycle. I should have got my notes about which houses things are happening in, actually, because that does help. But you may now be going into a cycle where you might be better at judging loyalty in general from others. Like, I think, just from my perspective, I think as an honourable person, hopefully you'd want to be loyal no matter what and not do tit for tat, where if somebody's disloyal to you, then you're disloyal to them. And you know what I mean? Like that's tit for tat, isn't it? Hopefully you'd want to be honourable within yourself and just always be loyal. But in terms of when you're around other people and judging whether they are trustworthy, etc., you might be developing, there might be something changing with that about how you perceive that. For example, if you were someone that tried to force loyalty before, and I don't mean it in a malicious way, but you know, like if you were involved with someone romantically and there's just, you constantly having to give them an ultimatum about about being loyal to you, and it's like, well, if they can't do it off their own back, it's a lose-lose situation, isn't it? If they're not choosing to do it without you having to tell them like they're a little kid, it's probably not going to happen. Only they can make the choice to do that. So that might be something where you sort of judge a lot quicker whether someone's loyal or not, and then if they're not, then tell them about themselves one time, and if they don't fix things, then don't go any further with it. That's one example. With friends, if you've had friends that are disloyal to you, you may be going into a period of time where it's like if they can't be loyal to you, then you might be distancing yourself from them. If you've addressed it and they're still not changing, you might be distancing yourself from that. Boundaries, basically. You might have more boundaries overall. It could be that you're being more loyal to yourself. It is being loyal to yourself. If you're setting boundaries, then you are being more loyal to yourself in general. But let's see what that World card says. I mean, you've got the High Priestess there, which is intuition. For me, with that Tower card, that could be that assessment of whether or not you feel someone's loyal, and kind of not being afraid to let things fall apart. If the other person wasn't loyal and you were, not being afraid to let that situation fall apart, because it's like, well, it's just dishonorable in general, so what's the point? But anyway, World card, what do we need to know about that? Two of Swords, Nine of Cups, and it's not just people as well, it's situations that can be disloyal to us. Like, why is religion coming to mind first of all, or spiritual stuff? That's the first thing that's coming to mind, and there's nothing here about that. Like, say, whatever religious or spiritual beliefs you have, you have your own religious or spiritual community that you're in, but there's just, I don't even know how I explain that. I guess cult. I know cults are extreme, but that's the only example I can give. If it's a cult, there's not genuine loyalty in a cult, is there? Because all it is about is manipulation. I don't know why that came to mind. Or in a job situation, it's not just that the people could be disloyal, but the whole nature of the business or whatever it is you're involved in could be unethical, shall I say, rather than loyal. But that comes to mind as well. God, that's a weird example to give. But let's see what else comes out. The Sun. So yeah, there really could be something here with a greater sense of discernment about what feels loyal, whether you're being loyal to yourself, whether others are being loyal to you, whether situations feel, I'll say, honourable. Let's use honourable interchangeably with the word loyal as well. And then that's where effortlessness comes in, because if something isn't honourable, it's usually more of a struggle, isn't it? It can often be more of a struggle. There's more of a battle with it, because it's just not, it's like fighting against yourself as well. Whereas if you are being loyal and honourable to yourself with people or with situations, it should feel more effortless. Nine of Cups, Page of Cups, the Sun, that is more of an effortless energy. You're honouring what feels satisfying. You're honouring what your heart wants. You're honouring what feels clear. Again, when we talked about loyalty, one part of loyalty is deception, isn't it? If everything's out in the open and things are clear and people are being honest about situations, about how they feel, there is a sense of loyalty as well, and it is effortless. But that Two of Swords, it does feel more like that sense of discernment that I spoke of. So as I say, you could be going into a cycle where you are much more discerning about what feels loyal and honourable and effortless to you. Let's have a quick peek at that Two of Swords on its own. Yeah, that's the struggle. That's the struggle that I just spoke of. Where if it's dishonourable, then it feels like more of a struggle because you know it's not beneficial to you. It's detrimental. So we have the Star, we have the Two of Pentacles, the Star, and the Judgment card. This is one of the times where I look at the Judgment card and I think it is literally about making good judgment or having good judgment, with that Two of Swords being there. I mean, as I say, with the Nine of Wands being there, that reminds me of the struggle, and the Two of Pentacles comes into that as well, because if you're struggling with something, you're always the one trying to balance the situation out, aren't you? You're the one trying to balance things out. But as I say, I think it's like getting into a better sense of discernment where you know what is detrimental or harmful and what's beneficial. As I say, better judgment. So let's leave that there. And some of you may even be considering how you can be more loyal to others as well. I mean, obviously loyalty with yourself first, because then that's how you learn, isn't it? You start with yourself and then you take it out. But you might be learning how to be more loyal to others. I'm not sure what that means just yet, but let's have a look at your specific energy with the High Priestess and the Tower. I'm just trying to think mentally whether everything's happened in the houses. So with Pluto entering Aquarius, that is now, what is that? Is that your 12th house? I think that would be your 12th house, wouldn't it? Okay. Might be about your beliefs as well then with the 12th house, because that's beliefs, that's your inner world, your mental health, those sorts of things. So loyalty mentally as well can even come to mind, but trusting your intuition, because the 12th house is spiritual stuff as well. The High Priestess is Piscean energy, I believe. I think it can be connected to both Cancer and Pisces, but probably more so Pisces. Right, anyway, High Priestess and the Tower, the Moon. I love when that comes up because that's connected to Cancer, definitely connected to Cancer and Pisces as well. Anything else for the High Priestess and the Tower? I'm not going to take those. That was too many. Let's try that again. Well, the wheel definitely wanted to come back out, didn't it? You've got the Ace of Pentacles. So this is your energy, by the way, the Tower and the High Priestess. Your energy specifically. Okay, yeah, we'll take the Eight of Swords, the Ace of Swords, and the Page of Pentacles. That was the Three of Pentacles that wanted to come out, by the way. Let's have a look at that Moon card. I'm going to try that again. That doesn't feel right. So the Moon, what do we need to know about the Moon? Right, I should have said it before. I was going to say it's what's hidden, and obviously the Seven of Swords can be what's hidden as well. I don't know if you feel like something is hidden and you want the truth to come out, or if you're keeping something to yourself. That could have a massive impact and change everything. You've got the World. I mean, again, wow. It really does look like there's something hidden here, whether it's something hidden within you or whether you're keeping it to yourself or someone else is keeping something from you, but it could have a dramatic impact. You've got the World and the Wheel of Fortune there. What is this? What's hidden? I mean, the one thing that could be hidden is that you want things to change. I was going to say want things to change, and the Death card comes out. Let's just get one more for that. Might be that actually, that you want things, you could be having a struggle actually. For some, the loyalty issue could be that you feel you might be in a bit of inner turmoil about where your loyalties lie. You may feel that you need to stay with something, or choose a particular thing because it feels more loyal to do that, but really it might not be. Let's get one more. Let's get one more. You know, like say, I think one thing I can think of is, you know, like if you worked, if you had a relative that got you a job somewhere, a relative that you're on really good terms with, really closely, like your cousin got you a job somewhere, it was a really good job, etc., but you're kind of feeling like you want to go on a different path, eye something else up, and you just feel like, oh my god, I can't do it because I've just got so much loyalty to them, they've done so much to me, they pulled all sorts of strings to get me this job, and I feel like a total arsehole if I leave and go and do this other thing. That's one example that comes to mind. You've got the Four of Swords. Let's see. It feels like detachment with that Death card and the Four of Swords. Three of Wands, Ten of Cups. Wow. Okay, yeah, so for some, you really could be wanting to detach from something but feel like it's not going to be loyal of you, that it will be disloyal for you to detach and to do something new, to go off on a different path. But if there is a situation you're in that you want to leave, it might be a bit of a struggle. It might be a bit of a struggle for you. And as I say, with this effortlessness card as well, in terms of the loyalties, about where your loyalties lie, I mean, it says here, the art of living means going with the flow instead of trying to force the river. If you're staying somewhere that you don't want to be, and you know there's something out there that you really want to flow towards, yeah, that's where you're trying to force yourself to stick, aren't you? Where you might want to change things. So I've just focused on the moon, haven't I, about something being hidden. As I say, you've got the big change there. You've got the Ace of Pentacles, which is potentially an opportunity. And this can go for relationships as well. Unfortunately, you know, like if you've met someone new, or there's a relationship that you're in is dead to you. In your own mind, you've kind of mentally checked out, and there's a new partner, or even if there's no one else around, it's just that your relationship might be dead. You might feel like it's just, you can't do it anymore, and you might be feeling like you just want the opportunity to be free and go off and do your thing, whether that means just be single for a while or find someone else, etc. That can come up here as well. But it shows that an opportunity here, you probably feel there's an opportunity here, but as I say, it's with the Eight of Swords, there's restriction, where if you kind of speak your truth, make everything clear, things come out in the open, then there's an opportunity to kind of pursue the new path, isn't there? You've got that twice about pursuing a new path with the Page of Wands and Page of Pentacles. Let's see what the external energies. One thing that's coming to mind with that external energy of the Nine of Swords is where, as I said, if you're worried about where your loyalties lie, I'm just going to keep repeating that now through the whole reading. There's no other way to say it. This may be where if this is sort of another person, it's wanting to avoid causing them any stress. Again, if it was something like what I said with a family member or something where they'd got you a job and you sort of feel like, oh my god, it's going to, especially say if you were in a business partnership with a friend or something and you didn't want to continue, you wanted to move on, you would naturally, well, hopefully, if you care about people, you would worry about that causing them stress. Again, relationships, if you wanted to end something with someone, you would be worrying about causing them stress by moving on, wouldn't you? For someone, it could even be as simple as, you know, where some people's parents pay for their degree or something like that, for them to study at university, the parents pay for it. You might want to change your major or something, or drop out altogether, and you're like, shit, I can't do that because that's disloyal to my parents who are paying for this degree. But you might know in your heart that it really, really, like, you might have tried and it's just like, I really know this isn't for me. You might have even got halfway through, 2 years through the course, and it's like, this is just not for me. I can't do this. And yeah. But let's see what else comes up. So let's look at that Nine of Swords energy and see what comes up there. Nope. I like the way the Hierophant comes up when I was just talking about university, because it's to do with higher education, isn't it? Anyway, Nine of Swords, or institutions of learning, right? The Tower, again. You may very well be concerned about causing a tower, to be honest. I'm going to try that again. That did not feel right. So another one for that Nine of Swords. Six of Cups. Well, I was going to say the Six of Cups was giving loyalty, but I didn't want to jump to conclusions. With that Ten of Pentacles, I mean, that is long-term commitment, isn't it, to something? There can be family involved with this. So I think I'll look at the Six of Cups on its own, but that external, it feels like, I know it's a surrounding or external energy, but it feels like whoever this represents to you, or whatever it represents to you, is wanting to avoid disrupting, causing disruption there, is what that kind of feels like. But let's see what else comes out. Right, Eight of Cups and Justice. It's like you know that it would cause disruption, but at the same time you don't want to settle, and you want to get what feels good to you and what feels right for you. Let's have a look at that Six of Cups on its own. The Chariot. Five of Wands. Wow. Okay, I'll keep this one. Same energy, to be honest. It is speaking of loyalty, and that whatever decision you make or choice you make could literally, I mean, look at this. Five of Wands, the Nine of Swords, and the Five of Swords as well. It could cause problems, to be honest. There is the potential it could cause problems. But as I say, you've got the Chariot there, which is choosing your direction. The Two of Pentacles can be weighing up opportunities as well, but it can be also balancing, you know, like as I said, if you're in a situation that didn't feel right and you didn't want to be there, it's still trying to balance that with your own needs as well, and your own values, your own sense of values. It's balancing the two of those things. But yeah, it looks like there's a real thing about not wanting to disrupt things. I don't know why the thought came to mind as well. If there's anything health related for someone, you know, like if let me think, you know, like for example, if you are or had been the carer for somebody else, it might even be someone who was ill but they're better now, but you kind of know that if you sort of go off on your own path and do, say if you took care of a parent or something who was ill, like they had some kind of illness but they've recovered now, but it's something that can come back, you know, it can get triggered again, and you kind of feel guilty that if you go off and travel the world, it's sort of abandoning them, and it might cause them stress and it could make them ill again. It's almost giving that's just another example, but it's giving that kind of energy as well, with questioning loyalty. Let's put these away and see what else happens. And I mean, sometimes you can be seen as selfish for making certain decisions, can't we? It's a bit of a catch-22. It's like you wanna be there for people, like that King of Pentacles energy. You want to be there, you want to be supportive, you want to be loyal, but it can be a real catch-22. Well, it's like you're here to live your own life as well, but then if you have other obligations, and it can be tough. It can be tough. Let's look at the Ten of Pentacles. So that is, I mean, as I said, that is about long-term stability. Why is the Ten of Pentacles there, please? So we've got one. Again, the Chariot. Strength card. you may be someone, or someone out there may be someone who's avoided pursuing their own path in order to be loyal. It's almost like with that strength card, it's almost like resistance. It's like, no, well, I've got battles to fight here. So at this past energy, obviously, but at that point in time, it was like, well, you can't choose your own path because you've got other shit to deal with. There's that card of freedom, of wanting to free yourself from the struggle and go towards what you love. So in the past, you may have been trying to just keep things stable, to be honest. You might have committed to whatever you needed to commit to, whether it was a job, family obligations, relationship, whatever, to keep things very stable. And you might have how would I say, you may have had this persona of just being very stable and committed to something, even though in your mind you might have just had this inkling that you want something different. But it's like, well, no, I can't. I got to deal with this. I have to deal with this. And it might have been a struggle that nobody else could see as well. You know, and people say, like, if people have been through difficulties and people say, oh, and I never saw them complain, they never complained. And it's like, they may not have complained to you, but how do you know that they didn't go to bed every night crying their eyes out because they felt they couldn't express that they were struggling, you know? So let's look at the Knight of Pentacles and Three of Swords. Yeah, so overall past energy. It looks like on the surface things may have been stable, or you may have held things together, but you may have had an inkling back then that you wanted something different. At some point it came up that you wanted to choose a different path. Knight of Pentacles, Three of Swords. Again, it's like a battle between loyalty with the Knight of Pentacles and disruption with the Three of Swords. So what do we need to know about this current or present energy? The Hermit, the Queen of Pentacles, Ten of Wands, it's interesting because I don't know if you can see, all I can see of this thing is stop pushing so hard, and then you get the Ten of Wands. Three of Cups. Nope, too many. Try that again. And the Devil, okay. Someone's loyalty sense of loyalty could be holding them back in a certain situation here. Let's look at that Hermit card. This might be what you want, to be honest. That Hermit energy is to be able to think, just time and space to think for yourself and decide what you want to do. So let's look at the Hermit. That really looks like a sanctuary, that does, with the Hermit, the Queen of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles. I feel like that's got to be up, and Nine of Swords. So it looks like that introspection and deep contemplation of how you feel, what you want, what feels like security to you, what feels like abundance to you, what you want to create. But again, that energy, that Nine of Swords, anxiety around that, because maybe you are in this Queen of Pentacles energy or trying to maintain that. But with the Ten of Wands there, it looks like a struggle. Let's have a look at that Three of Cups card, because for me that can be about community. With it being in between the Ten of Wands and the Devil, that can be where, as I say, it's like where you give too much, where you give in too much outside of yourself because of a sense of loyalty. Let's have a look. Three of Cups, the Hanged Man in reverse, try that again. You've got the Knight of Pentacles again. Ten of Swords and Four of Wands. Let's get something for the Devil. It feels like that. Just bear with me a minute. I think it's pretty much wanting to come out of limbo where, as I say, if you are giving too much to a situation, you know, giving too much loyalty to something and it's feeling like too much effort, it's just wanting to be freed from that, to come out of that. I think you're probably aware that it can cause disruption and it might cause hurt, but there's a desire to come out of that. Let's look at the Devil card. What, the Ten of Cups? Yeah, because it's holding you back from what you feel would fulfill you emotionally. Freedom I'm getting with that World card. Well, we have the Six of Swords. For me is a card of escape, isn't it? And the Death card, it's kind of cutting ties with something or putting an end to something, changing something. Okay. So yeah, overall for the current energy, as I say, it's like a battle between loyalty, dedication, being responsible and sort of choosing something different, but you know it could cause disruption. It's just giving the same energy throughout the whole reading, to be honest. It is really just giving that energy. And as I say, feeling held back by responsibility, I would say. Let's look at the Hermit. The Hermit is a future, potential future energy. Right, Hermit. What do we need to know about the Hermit? That was really quick. So Four of Cups, King of Swords, the Emperor, the Ace of Wands. That King of Swords next to the Emperor comes up. Looks like a plan, having a plan, like a plan of action. It looks like a plan. For me, the Hermit here in the future, it's almost like contemplating, like really going in deep with what is not working, what's making you feel dissatisfied, and coming up with a plan to have that new chapter. So that's something that you may be doing. Let's look at the Four of Cups specifically on its own. King of Cups, yeah, it's like investigating how you really feel, what you really need, what you really want. So it looks like as a potential future energy, I don't feel like I need to clarify much on that. It's like going within to figure out what's not working and what you want to do about it, but like specifically a plan. Let's just be nosy and get one for the King of Swords and one for the Emperor to see if it'll tell us anything specific about the plan. It's almost like even if you have been held back, it's like going into the future, you kind of developing that spark for, right, I feel inspired, I can do this, I can change things, rather than that being stuck so much. You got deep contemplation again with that Four of Swords, and then the King of Pentacles, it's a very practical energy. So thinking very deeply about how you can make this a reality. Yeah, I don't need to think do anything else with that. So yeah, future wise, you might be really working out how you're going to change things. How that impacts the whole loyalty and disruption, all it's showing me is you, to be honest. With the Hermit, it's not showing the impact on others. It's just pretty much showing you working it out for yourself. Let's look at Justice. So that's the advice. I mean, the first thing I would say with Justice, I mean, obviously you want to be loyal to yourself and you want to be fair to yourself. I would say obviously take others' feelings at the very least into consideration, but let's see what comes up. I think it's about what's doing what feels fair and balanced for everyone, but obviously if it's fair and balanced for everyone, then that means that you can't, it's not being completely selfish, but then not sacrificing yourself as well. So let's see what comes up. So, you know, say for example in that the example about if you were in a business partnership with a family member but you wanted to go off on your own path, what it's going to be very hard to make it completely fair, but what could be fair is you tell them in advance and it's like, right, I'd like to leave, but let's phase it out where over a period of such and such time, months or whatever, we bring someone else in and get them in so that they can be your partner. You know, that would be fair, rather than saying, right, I've had enough, I'm off, and leave them, you know, abandoned to their own devices, that sort of thing. Yeah, let's see what comes up for justice. If it's a relationship that's dead, there's not really a fair way to do it, is there? I mean, the fairest thing you can do is let someone go, really. If you don't want to be with them, don't breadcrumb them. Don't sort of string them along, let them go. Yes, it will hurt them like hell, but you know what can happen when people drag out relationships that are long dead? People can cheat, the resentment breeds in the relationship, and it just becomes an absolute nightmare, doesn't it? So in the long run, although not initially, it's painful initially, but in the long run it's fairer to let someone go, isn't it? Let's see. So we've got the Six of Wands. You've got the Queen of Cups. What else? The Hanged Man. That Hanged Man, God, I'm going all over the place, feels like growth. It feels a bit like maturity as well as growth, actually. So I've got the Ten of Cups. Three of Swords, Death. Actually, with that Hanged Man there, it can be to do with sacrifice as well. And I don't mean sacrifice yourself. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the Hanged Man and the Three of Swords. I would say, first of all, so we are clarifying the Justice card. What feels fair in terms of what feels successful to you and honors your feelings. That's one side of things that you need to consider. But let's look at the Hanged Man and the Three of Swords, if the cards will shuffle properly. Okay. No rush. With the Hanged Man, it's telling you not to rush. Not to make like a rash decision. You might feel pressure at the minute, but don't rush it. And that comes into effortlessness as well. Like, you might even be pressuring yourself to make a decision, and it's like, try and take your time to for the answers to come to you and to get the answers. You know, don't sort of try not to react suddenly and rush into things, like rushing into telling the truth. And, you know, take your time to figure out what you need first of all. Let's look at the Three of Swords. So you've got the Five of Cups, Three of Pentacles, King of Wands. Okay, let's quickly get something for Death. Two of Cups, the High Priestess, Two of Pentacles. Oh, that's interesting. So with that Death card, whatever changes need to be made, I almost feel like it's speaking more of there's something about balancing trust your intuition first and balance that out with the practical side of things and your values as well. Let's get one more for that. I'm going to try that again. That didn't feel right. So it was the Magician, but that didn't feel good. it's not here, but I feel like compassion is important in this as well. If there are others involved and there is the potential for them to get hurt, which there is, I feel like there is with that Three of Swords. I've said it in the reading anyway, but Three of Swords, Five of Cups. Try and be compassionate, but let's get one more for that Death card. Five of Wands. Okay, I've got to get another one after that now because that's a bit ambiguous. I would say here, being careful of conflict holding you back from your dreams. As much as you can be compassionate and considerate and fair, you know, like if you want to make a decision and somebody just gets really angry with you and then you start to feel guilty, it's like not letting that guilt stop you from sort of moving forward with your plans. Yes, you can be compassionate towards them, but don't let it stop you dead as in, oh God, I've upset them so much, I just can't do this now, you know, sort of be able to work through it. And if you can, because you know, certain situations people might never talk to you again for the decisions you make, and it's like, what can you do about that? If you've tried to be compassionate with them, explain your side, and they just think you're a complete asshole, what can you do about that? But it does feel like being compassionate. But yeah, as I say, don't let it dissuade you just because someone else is upset or angry with you. That Three of Swords, so I said sacrifice, it could be accepting the sacrifice that somebody might get hurt. Your decision may hurt someone, not because you're being malicious, but it's in conflict with what they want or need in some way, shape or form. You could experience some feelings of disappointment and hurt, possibly in yourself, with another within this situation. That might be the sacrifice that has to happen for things to come together. And I'm not encouraging, it's part of life, isn't it? That sometimes it's part of the situation is that hurt comes about unless you stay stagnant. But then even if you stay stagnant and you thought, oh well, I can't do that because it will hurt someone's feelings, then you're gonna get hurt. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation, isn't it, really, in terms of the hurt part, not the whole path and choosing what your heart wants and that kind of thing, but in terms of someone getting hurt, there's going to be a sacrifice where someone may get hurt. So overall, guidance, trying to be as fair as possible for yourself, for others. Have compassion, don't rush, don't be dissuaded as well. Yeah, there's a bunch of advice, but we're going to get you a final card of advice now from, hopefully there was something helpful there for you. I think this reading is probably going to be called something like Where Do Your Loyalties Lie, or Contemplating Where Your Loyalties Lie, because that was just the whole thing, wasn't it, about loyalty. So final card of advice for Pisces, Sun, Moon and Rising from the Sacred Rebels deck. So I'm only going to read one of these, even if multiples come out. So let's see what you get. So final card of advice for Pisces, Sun, Moon and Rising. I think that's two. As I said, I'm only going to do one of them, but let's see. Right, you've got, oh, this is difficult to choose which one. I might have to read both of them. I know it's already a really long reading, but it's not like it's self-explanatory, is it? So this is kind of Tower energy, actually. That is kind of Tower energy. So let's have a look at that one first, After the Storm, and then I'll do Release the Dark Wound, Let Love Live. And they are pretty, I mean, these messages are deep anyway, but yeah, I am going to read both of them. If there's one of them that you don't want to hear, then just skip through it. So we'll do After the Storm first. This is quite a long one, by the way. So it says, there's a thunderstorm about. It is either headed your way or just passing through. I think that's the inevitable, like, sacrifice and disruption energy, isn't it? Anyway, Don't make a thunderstorm mean more than what it is, though. You don't have to fear it. You might even feel excitement about it. After all, a thunderstorm is just nature's way of gathering energy together that needs to be released. With a release of tension, relief, and freedom, with a release of tension, relief, and freedom soon follow. That would be effortlessness, wouldn't it? Often with a fresh perspective and perhaps the gift of a promising, hopeful vision for your future. Perhaps the particular storm building within you or around you is causing you to quake in your boots. It might be a storm of building emotions, threatening to erupt or already exploding, seemingly beyond your conscious control. You might feel an uncomfortable sense of emotional or psychological pressure within, and if something doesn't happen, and soon, you fear you might burst. You may also sense that these are forces operating beyond your control. And you would be right. There is in life and in the creative process a need to allow for wild storms. There will be precious moments, those precious moments of peace beforehand and the release and revitalization that follows, yet the storm in the middle is essential. It is a natural part of the creative process. Without this building and releasing of energy, we would suffer from boredom and stagnancy. You may prefer the excitement of the storm or the fresh, open feeling that accompanies its clearing. You may find it confronting to be faced with the power of something in which you can only participate rather than control. Either way, the storm wisdom offers you the gift of bringing things to a head and clearing them away so that the energy can be freed from a pattern that has had its day and is ready to become something new. Sometimes the pressures that fuel the storms of our lives have been building up for a long time. Without us being fully aware of it, it might be pressure from our own minds, creating unnecessary burdens upon us, such as burdens of fear or self-doubt. It could be pressure to appear a certain way or to fight against life out of a mistaken belief that it is necessary for survival. Sometimes the pressure is little more than the impossible dream of perfection and a need to gently or even with great dramatic flourish cast that aside, so that you can dare to be what you are and create from your heart. Even if you are not sure what the storm is about, don't lose confidence in your ability to successfully bear its progression until you are safely at the other side of the experience. Even amongst the chaos of change and in moments of anxiety, know that you have so much light and trust in your heart that you can see the storm is but a passing process and nothing that need worry you. If you can't sense the storm yet, this oracle is a portent for you. The storm is coming and you can, if you wish, feel the beautiful, exhilarating gift of it as you are empowered to cast aside what has been and receive the gift of a fresh new take on things. Your confidence is to remain intact, whatever is happening or soon will happen in your life. This storm of sorts is transformational and supportive of your growth. It is going to clear away cobwebs and free you, open you to new creative energy in life. Remember, there can be no rainbows without a little rain. This oracle is also confirmation that if you have been praying for help, your prayers have been heard and the great creative intelligence of our universe is responding to you, stepping in and shaking things up so that situations can be sorted out according to a greater wisdom. So let go, hold only to your inner self and allow everything to be cleansed in the sacred storm. Well, the way that tower kept coming up, I think you can feel the need for change. Definitely feel the need for change. Anyway, let's have a look at release the dark wound. Let love live. So this one says, if we detach something from its source too soon, trying to force it to become what it is not yet ready or willing to become, we can intentionally sap it of its strength and kill it. There is a dark wound in the consciousness of humanity which demands perfection and denies process. If you are thinking of publishers before you have even written the book, if you are comparing your unfinished song idea to the latest best-selling pop release, if you have decided you are not good enough or worthy enough to succeed before you've given it everything you've got and asked for divine help, then this dark wound has you in its grasp. You have to let go of the death grip of perfectionism and let yourself and your ideas live. Again, effortlessness. Love is abundant, creative, and inspiring. It moves us so much more joyously and creatively than fear. You are being asked to honor the path of your own love. What inspires you, what feels exciting, joyful, and perhaps even rather different. Let that live. Release the dark wounding of false belief. There are countless stories of vastly successful artists who very nearly binned the project that was the making of their career because of the despair fostered by their own dark nature. They doubted. They were uncertain. Was their work any good? Was it useless? They struggled to believe in the right of a work to come to life, whether it was accepted, revered, or rejected by others or not. They nearly lost their work to fear. Undoubtedly, there have been many times when this has actually happened and the work was not saved, not allowed to live. Do not let this happen to you, whether something is meant to be a commercially oriented venture or a more personal creation for your own therapeutic healing. It must be allowed to be without judgment, without criticism, even without premature evaluation. I nearly said that wrong then, and I'm sure you can imagine what I said. I was thinking. It must be allowed to be what it is, and only time, love, patience, and attention will reveal it. If you have drawn this card along with the Oracle of Defend to the End the Worthwhile or the Oracle of New Birth guarded vigilantly, then the message above is amplified and you are asked to act on this immediately so that your path can continue under the protection and grace of wisdom. If you feel drawn to read the messages of one or both of these additional oracles, whether you have drawn the cards in this reading or not, trust your instincts and do that in addition to completing the reading of this guidance and the healing processes below. You can do the healing processes for those additional cards if you wish to do so. The messages of this card are also amplified if you have drawn the Oracle of Beyond the Mind, the Heart Beats. If you have not drawn that card but feel inspired to read its messages and complete the healing process for the Oracle, trust yourself and do so now. So I generally don't read the healing processes, to be honest. I mean, if anyone feels like they really want to see it, it's not mega long. I can always take a picture and put it on the community page or something. But yeah, so this one, there's a lot of talk about fear, because sometimes where we can use loyalty as an excuse, can't we, sometimes as well, where we say, oh well, I can't do that because I have to be loyal to this. And yes, it is partly because you want to be an honorable human being and you don't want to hurt people's feelings, but sometimes it's our own fear of rejection where it's just an excuse where it's like, oh well, no, there's no need, there's no point. And it's really because we're terrified of rejection, disappointment, that sort of thing. So I'll leave your message there. Hopefully there was something helpful for you in that. Feel free as usual to like, share, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel. If you want a personal reading, see the info in the description box. But thank you very much for watching, Pisces, and take care.